Hi, good morning, afternoon, evening, from wherever you're listening to me. My name is Sharmili. Um, I have been working in the industry for a good 25 years now. More importantly, I'm a mother of two, three actually. I have a little puppy as well. I can make that four. I have a husband also. So that's where we are. But I have a full house. I have aging parents whom I look after. But other than my work, and since this session is more about career planning and breaks in transition, important to understand that while my title calls out that I'm the global HR shared services lead here at Capgemini, I also live a full life with multiple responsibilities, have taken multiple breaks, and have transitioned multiple roles in this same organization itself. Okay, so why does this topic matter? I think it matters most importantly because people are hesitant. They don't know. They're unsure of why there is, why or how am I going to take this entire break? Because I am doing really well in my office. I am really doing well in my career. However, I also want to have the joys of motherhood. I also want to have my family. Very important for us to balance both. Unfortunately, as statistics shows, 50% of people drop out, right? After they take their breaks. Important for women to be planned to understand what they have, or what they have in their kitty, to plan this transition and ensure that they still stay on track, both in terms of career and in terms of life cycle, so that none of them gets missed out. That's why we're actually talking about this. Okay, so let's get real now. Okay, what are we saying? Why do people actually fear this transition? One is, like I said, people are on a good work trajectory. There are multiple things that you have worked hard to achieve. There are milestones at work which people would have worked on. Um, how this will impact pregnancy, how this is going to impact professionally, how emotionally are you going to be able to take this entire ride through? Is it really going to come through, as easily as or as rosy as it sounds, or is it as scary as people not being able to come back but because we live in a patriarchal society, and whatever you say, there are multiple things that women need to do in a family, however supportive your better half and your support system is. So there is, I think, understanding of how you will balance the two and what you will do to actually go ahead and keep this balance to ensure that professionally, emotionally, as well as physically, how you stay aligned to take this journey. Okay, so important to understand the meaning of human resources. Human resources actually means somebody who can aid and assist in helping you transition from one role to the other. Having open conversations is the most important. Not when you're planning, but after you have planned. So before you're planning to have your child, important to understand what are my entitlements in terms of leave, in terms of flexibility, what exactly is the organization offering. Also, most of the organizations now, of course, mandated by the government of India, have also given us, have ensured that women do have a soft landing when they come back. They do have now 6 months maternity, etc. Read, understand if you don't. Make your HR your ally to understand some of these policies. Please question, write down your questions, have a conversation to ask them, this is what the policy says. This is my understanding of the policy. Is my understanding correct? You don't want to be caught on the wrong foot that your understanding is something else, whereas the HR is worded it some other way, which does not work to your favor. So understand what's my flexibility that the company is offering. Also, look for the support groups, look for the coaches within the organization who can help you build this. Ensure you understand the role you're going out from. Ensure you understand the landscape before you come in. Also, ensure that you have open conversations with your manager, with your teams, with the HR, to know how this transition is going to work for you. If you're going to be away for 6 months, build your support system at home as much as you're building your support system, at work, while you're having an understanding how work is going to impact, how all of this is going to work through. And so you're also planning at home how this is all going to work out. But of course, this is more about the HR role. So what I really want, what I really want you all to understand is that HR needs to be an ally. You need to read, you need to understand, you need to have at your fingertips resources that will work in your favor. Whether it is what is the maternity benefit that you get, what is the number of days of leave that you get, what kind of flexibility will you be given? Can you come back to work part time? Can you come back to work full time? Is there flexibility like work now, because back to offices is a big a big thing in all organizations. Will your organization offer you support to work from home for a couple of days till the child is in support? Of course, you'll have support, but some of these flexibilities, have these open conversations, have this understanding at work. Creches that organizations often sponsor. I mean, I'm lucky because we have a good organization who has multiple creches within our office premises. So understand how those operate, what is the cost implication of, putting your child in the creche. Talk to parents who have done, stuff like this, who have already left their children there. Understand from them how it's worked for them, so that you understand and you could take a knowing decision of how this is going to work for you, in the future. Okay, so I did already, already talk about the planning trifecta. I want you to understand it at 3 different levels, and it's important that you deal with it on 3 different levels. One is, how financially prepared are you? Be mindful, children are expensive. Okay, it changes your life at least 50% if you have your first child. By the time you go to your second, it turns your life upside down. You have to know that, you have to acknowledge that, and you have to prepare for that, financially, emotionally, and professionally. So it is important that you understand, like I said, your leave benefits. Which hospital you're going to go to, what kind of costs you're going to incur. At least plan for it 80%. There will be some unknowns, that come along with childbirth, etc., which is okay. But is there an extension other than your maternity benefit that your organization can give you in case that there is an emergency? Please read, please find out. Also understand how once your child is born, how do you quickly add them as your dependents in your office, so that early expenses for the child is also met out of some of the insurance policies that some of your organizations take on. Many benefits that come along which go unnoticed. Maternity benefits by the government is also there, which is due to some, to people who are going on maternity break. Important for you to read up and understand what is due to you. I often find that people don't know. And they step in and then start figuring out, and then get frustrated in the process that nobody's able to tell them. When you have the resources at hand, that is when you are working, please take time to understand how financially this is going to have an impact on you. Emotionally, I can talk about it for hours together, but nothing's going to prepare you emotionally. However, it is important that, you identify what is the support you will need. You will need people at home to take care of the child. You will need your groups at work so that you stay in touch and you're not always in the diaper bottle feeding mode after you, have your child. It is important, and it's worked for me, honestly, because I kept in touch with my professional group. It was fun to then sit at home and read about, or, even listen to some of the gossips. So don't completely block yourself out from your office colleagues. It gives you that mental break that, there are other things and other problems at work that are different. And so it always helps in having different perspectives. Enjoy that journey. A child is a bundle of joy, but they can come with a lot of emotional, ups and downs for women. Acknowledge that, understand that it is going to come. So ensure that your support groups are ready, that you do have people you're going out for a walk with in the evening without your child, that even if it is 15 minutes, 3 times a day, whatever works for you, but build that, build that emotional support, build the help that you need, ask for help. Help never comes if you don't ask. So please ask, ensure that you understand, how this is all going to come together. Professionally, you have to create handover plans. If you don't create your handover plans, if you don't set the return expectations, and if you think that, everything will work out and I will come back within 3-4 months and take on my role, you have to think twice. If you do a detailed handover plan, no one's going to call you when you're on your break. You will be able to focus on your child, on yourself, on your own well-being and your family, for that time. So important that you document everything that you've been doing and hand it over, keep it handy, let multiple people know that here's where the resources are, because there are people who are in very critical roles who take this break and don't really do a written handover. They think that somebody's shadowing their work. It's very good to have work shadows. It's very good to have buddy systems. It's good that, you have somebody who's taken over your role and you're budding them and you're doing things. But remember that you've been doing this role for whatever number of years, 1 year, 2 years. There are multiple things which you will not be able, to convey. So my trick rule has always been keep a paper and pen handy at least 6 months before you go on maternity leave. Okay, so, as a luxury of time, we have 9 months, right? So before you know you're going to take this time off. 6 months prior, ensure that you're jotting down everything in different buckets in terms of what you're doing. So when you're building your handover, it's easy to just put everything together. Easier to take an Excel sheet, just put it in buckets so that okay, these are the kind of reports I was sending, these are my clients, these are the names I was working with, these are the challenges we have, etc., etc. Gives you a very good handover document which anybody can come in and, pick up and think and, start, even though you have shadowed, say, the last 2 months before you have gone on your maternity. So the minute you have this docket out, one is everybody knows you were serious in your work. Everybody knows how professional you are, that you're not just doing it, just handing over something and going. Second is the job means something to you as much as your family means to you. So important that you demonstrate both. Important that you're setting the right expectations, that I'm not going to be available from the time I'm going on maternity leave. So please ensure that even after all of this, you state when your return would be, how accessible you're going to be during your time off. If you are handling critical roles and you would be able to support even for an hour, set that expectation that yes, I will be available for an hour in the afternoon or in the evening or in the morning or whenever. But if there is going to be a chance that you're not going to be accessible, please set the expectations so that when you come back, you are truly professional in doing a good handover, ensuring that you set the expectations and you're able to focus completely on your current situation right now rather than on your work. Okay. So financial planning. While I did touch upon it earlier, it's and I did talk about how we plan for your cashless hospitalization, whether you're talking about maternity, in terms of hospital care, etc. Ensure that you are covered as a person for the next 9 months to a whole year. So important that you do your savings, important that you have some money kept so that you can do whatever indulgence you would want to do, not just for your child, but for yourself. So planning of this financial, and like I said earlier, children don't come inexpensive. They do come, and I think as modern parents, we're all looking to give those fancy things to our children, but that apart, medication, just, the number of times that you will need to visit a doctor, the number of times that you will need assistance is going to increase. The faster you understand it, the faster you plan for it. It is easier to go into that level. So, so while you're planning financially in terms of, what is the kind of fresh support, what is the kind of leave, etc., you should also have in mind what is your return model available for you. Okay. So emotionally, like I said, it is going to be an uphill task. It is a time to enjoy the break, enjoy the, the joys that, childbirth brings to you. But also it is important that you understand, and build allies. I did touch upon it briefly earlier, but I will go through it in the 4 stages that I mentioned here. Um, find mentors who you can talk to, not just professionally, but even personally, other people who have been through it. You know, they will be able to empathize with you much more than, and I'll tell you what worked for me in terms of emotional. I never listened to anyone, honestly, never listened to anyone. I had some books which I used as my mentor, and I went with my gut feeling, how I brought up. And my children are 18 and 15 right now. So I have actually very clearly brought them up with experience firsthand. So, however, I did need mentor groups. I did need, my time in terms of people. I did need my friend circle. Very important to have your girl group, to have friend circle, to have your spouse as your friend. There used to be times when my husband would come home. I would just, ensure that the child is left with the help, and we would just take a bike ride. We would just, go out onto the garden and spend, time talking about anything else other than, the children. And, because the fuss becomes so much more when you're at home and doing it 24/7 that you need your 10 minutes of time. So we would take just a bike ride around the colony, at 10 o'clock in the night and come back. But that really helped. We would come back more grounded. We would come back, talking about other things. If you don't move away from, the situation, you're never going to breathe easy. So ensure that you are building those groups. Ensure, your emotional preparedness also has physical activities embedded in it. Please join yoga groups which are slow. Don't join a fast yoga group. You're not going to come back into shape. So don't get into that rut. Ensure that the space that you're going to spend, even if it is half an hour of a good stretch, a good exercise, a good, because physically it's tiring, it's exhausting. Allow yourself the time to come back to where you were. So it is important that you understand all of this, acknowledge it, and work with it. I haven't going in any particular order out here, but it's just important that, I say everything that's on my mind. Support tools. While I said, therapy does not have to be professional therapy. Therapy could be your girl gang. Therapy could be your mother-in-law. Therapy could be, of course, your mothers, your sisters, your brothers, your siblings, everybody who, can laugh about something else for at least 10 minutes in a day. So use your support groups and ensure that you are connected to the support groups. Journaling really helps. Journaling definitely helps in any stage in your life. So this is no exception. So, having a journal to actually write down what you're going through so that your partner acknowledges and understands what you're going through. Your partner will play a very, very important role, especially in the emotional part, because, of course, financial also, but in the emotional part, they do play a big role. Because I have found often my friends very disturbed that their spouses are sleeping through the night, whereas they are not. Okay, so prepare yourselves, prepare them that, this is going to be, prepare a schedule which works for both of you. On weekends, you ensure that you're getting your sleep, whereas if he's going out to work and, will need to ensure that he sleeps most of the nights, then, partner it out, but write out all of this. Everything becomes an issue when you're emotionally down. The more you write it, the more you discuss it, the more you talk about it, the more it comes out. So ensure that you are spending a lot of time discussing some of the challenges that you think will come up before your child comes into this world, but also after it. Instead of making it a fight, instead of bottling it up, instead of at one point of time, because people do feel that, I am having to bear, the brunt of everything. Ensure that you work towards making that support system more loyal. Okay. So no brainer that in professional planning, you start early. There is, like I said, from 6 months before you go on maternity leave is when you should start planning, because you already know that you will go at some point of time. However, as the date gets closer, you have more clarity in terms of when you will, when you're going to go, on your maternity, but at least you will know a month earlier. So 6 months earlier, start documenting, start writing all the work that you're doing, ensure that you're putting things into place so that nobody bothers you. And like I said, setting boundaries is very important. If you are holding critical roles at work and you know that, you will need to be accessible. Let's take, for example, people in the payroll, in my scheme of work. So anybody who's handling payroll, while she might document, he or she, because people go on paternity also, they might document a lot of what's going on. Sometimes we find that it isn't enough. In some cases, need intervention. So critical, where it is going to have business impact, where it is going to have financial impact, ensure that you have a conversation. So if I know that somebody in my team is going to go on leave, either paternity or maternity, I ensure that I build up and ask them, what's going to work for you? What is the timeline when we can reach out to you? Is there a 15 minutes window when somebody can reach out and get some clarity? Just so that I'm respecting their time, asking them for, how it's going to work, and ensuring that business runs as usual. So similarly, you would need to do it at your end. Define that, I will be available morning, when my husband's around, let's say, or at 8:30 in the evening works best for me. Afternoons work best for me. Whatever works for you. Ensure that you set your boundaries, not just with your professional and your personal. Set your boundaries at home, set expectations. What are you going to be able to do? What were you doing before this? Are you going to be able to take care of all the cooking and everything in the house? Please understand how it's going to change. Understand where your boundaries are. Seek help. Seek how you're going to plan all of this. Okay. So while this is professional planning, I think, I've digressed into both, but important that you plan everything to the largest extent that you can. Then, of course, reboarding. Very important. Before you come back, or before you know you're going to be able to come back, ensure that you understand crash facilities. Ensure that you understand, some of them might not have the luxuries of having very long maternity, 6 months, and then you have to be back. So use everything that is there in your organization's flexibility policy to work for you. How long can you work from office? Is there a role that you can take on that does not demand you to work the entire 9 hours? Is there a policy that allows you to work only 4 hours? Is there job roles that are less demanding on your time than it was before? So there are multiple roles that you can opt for. There are multiple things that you can do. We have personally moved people from doing very critical roles, which require full-time attention, to doing a more easier role, maybe a supportive role, etc. So ask for those roles, but if you aren't going to be able to express and tell them, no one's going to know what will work for you. So you coming back will work for both the organization and for you. So you have to have those conversations so that you know where you're going to go. In case you need to move industries, in case you need to, shift, ensure that you have your resume updated earlier on. Don't start at the end of your maternity to start updating your resume, to start looking at, where am I going to work, etc. Keep your networks alive. Keep yourself updated on what are the new technologies. I have been out, let's say, 6 months of maternity. I have taken an extended 6 months. It's a year. I now need to go back. What has transitioned in the last year? If I take today, where we were in terms of AI and how it's influencing our work, just a year earlier has changed. So if somebody has gone on maternity, let's say a year earlier, has come back today, my expectation is that the person will know at least how some of this is influencing their work. So if you are going to come back exactly where you left off, you will get left out. Please, there are millions and millions of free content on YouTube, on LinkedIn, where you can keep yourself abreast, where you can keep yourself updated. Use them, read them, listen to podcasts so that you keep yourself abreast and updated on what's happening. That will aid and assist in how you return, how you behave once you return, how successful you will be once you come back in terms of your professional. I'm going to start with a very, very, well-known personality, Radhika Gupta. I'm sure all of you have read. If not, please follow her on LinkedIn. Please understand and read up about her. She took a break at a very late age. She did have privileges that some of us probably might not have in terms of, the kind of support she had. However, why I'm bringing her up is because she really was able to do it when she was handling the corner office. So she had the job, she had the role, she has a huge portfolio, and she has been able to juggle, motherhood as well as take her break and come back confidently, given all the issues that she has. If you really read up about her, you will know and you will understand some of the challenges and hurdles she's had. And that's why I picked Radhika, because Radhika really has been, according to me, has been someone I look up to. I read a lot about her. I do follow some of her financial advices. So, it's important that you have good role models. She seems to be a really good role model in the way she's handled a lot of things. And so it would be nice if you really understand how she actually worked things out. So, just to give you a little more about Radhika. She, of course, is the CEO of Edelweiss Mutual Funds. Was not here all the time. She has struggled her way up. She has worked her way up, and had a child quite recently. I think in the last 3 or 5 years, and has been able to. Of course, I don't know her personally, but while following multiple personalities, I found her really enigmatic to be able to follow and understand what she does. Okay, so basically, what she demonstrated is she knew that she was the journey she's going to take through. She was very open. She discussed. She noted exactly what she was going through. She had emotional honesty. There's no doubt about it. Okay, she was not overwhelmed by what was coming her way, but she sought support. She actually got the support, and she knew exactly. She played it to her strength. She knew where she was lacking, where she needed help. She called it out and she asked for it and she got it. Okay, so I think honesty, more communication is what we all need to be, and what I've been saying even from the beginning of this podcast. Okay, I'm going to give you a very simple 3C's framework navigating transitions. Clarity, communication, continuity. Nothing to it. Same thing I've been saying from the beginning. Define your goals before you go. What exactly are you going to do? When are you going to leave? Also plan for contingencies in terms of, when it's going to come, etc. How, if you can't return to work, what's going to happen? So plan for all of that. Ensure that you have clarity on all your policies, clarity on all your benefits, clarity in terms of financials, all of that, so that you know exactly what you're stepping into. Communication, very key in any transaction, any relationship. Ensure that you are transparent, you're communicating. It's not a sin that you're going to go away and because of which you're going to be denied your promotion. It's not. So it is a couple of days off, maybe months, but that's still okay. It has no bearing on anyone's career progression. So ensure you communicate. Communicate as in document and communicate your own handoffs, communicate your expectations, and communicate when you think you will return. Stay in touch. If not your previous manager, stay in touch with your teams, stay in touch with your managers, stay in touch with the line HR, stay in touch so that expectations can be planned. Also find out earlier on how you can add your children who are, your just newborn children on for your own policies, etc. Okay, important that you have all of those handy. And then how do you go back in terms of continuity? So, like I said, keep in touch. Once you're in touch, before you come in, you're going to go in a month earlier, start connecting with them, tell them so that if they need to identify a different role, they can keep you in mind, knowing that you're going to come back on XYZ date. So I would prefer, I ask my team leads to reach out to figure out even 2 months earlier if the person is going to be able to come back on the date committed. Sometimes it's not always possible. Sometimes it is possible. So then, they need to plan how they're going to accommodate this person in, what kind of a role the person will take, etc. So while as an organization we plan it, you as a person should also be planning it, reaching out. Sometimes people are not very planned. So, and of course, teams are smaller. There could be so many nuances. Please reach out, have the communication, and talk to them about how you want to take the role going forward. If you have actually moved out of the role and you're looking for, looking for another role altogether, also 3C framework forms very, very important. Ensure that you are clear that you're going to be able to take on a new role, new expectations, new environment with a new child or a new home situation. And, so ensure that you have clarity before you actually go ahead and leave your previous job. And of course, the communication and continuity flows with that. But just, be mindful of what you're going to be doing in those few months and how you will come back and transition into a new role. So some of the most common mistakes that you should avoid: not waiting too long to disclose pregnancy. Okay. Please remember, ladies, gentlemen, whoever's listening to this, pregnancy is not a blip. It is a very happy phase of your life. Don't wait till the last 3 months for whatever reasons to have that conversation. Everybody needs to plan. Like, we're encouraging you to plan your transition, etc. Also ensure that organizations need to plan, because there is work which is given to you, there are responsibilities, etc. So don't wait till the end of your second trimester, etc. I know by tradition we wait a first trimester out before giving them information. But I think 6 months is good enough time to plan, to organize for yourself, as well as to plan for the organization. So either ways, do not wait too long. It just means helps in planning in both ways, gives you a very strong footing of being transparent, being a good employee, and multiple other things. Not documenting leave handovers. I think I touched this, but I will repeat. The more documentation you leave behind, the more the more you are actually leaving a job, a role. It's not because you don't want to be indispensable, but because you know that the role is important, the work you're doing. So you're leaving a clean plate for the next person. So ensure that you follow certain hygiene in terms of giving a good, clear handover, in terms of documented handover, and expectations in terms of how long you will be available if you're doing a critical role. Okay. Avoiding honest conversations about return preferences. So, honestly, like exactly what's written here, clear communication helps set realistic expectations. There's no taking it away. If you are not really clear and not honest and not going to be wishy-washy because you haven't made up your mind whether you're going to come back in 6 months, etc., it's okay to say this is what I think will happen, but it is not okay to not disclose or have that honest conversation. Often you will find managers, HR, etc., everyone busy. However, ensure that you set up time on their calendar to say, this is a conversation I need to have. I need to understand how I can return. The workload was really heavy while I left. I would like to come back to a better role. I would need some allowance. I don't have a support system, or it's just we're a nuclear family. Whatever your situation is, if you do have support, you living in a large family, there is enough support, you have a crash facility, you have help, you have all your nannies, etc., and you can manage the workload, because it is quite a bit to manage, by all means, go back to the role. In case you can't, having that honest conversation is key to be able to, work for it on both ways, for you as well as for the organization. And not having financial plan out. The gap you might think is 6 months because organization gives you 6 months. So in those 6 months, you're probably getting paid. However, the 6 months might increase to maybe, a year. For both my children, I took an entire year gap for both. And if I was not financially stable, I wouldn't have been able to make that decision. I live in a nuclear family, had to do everything, by myself. As in, of course, I had help, but not having somebody to look after, a 6-month-old baby and leaving it to a nanny was not something that agreed with me. So while I did, and back then, like I said, my older one is 18. So 18 years ago, it was a 3-month maternity leave. I didn't have the heart to go back, leaving a 3-month-old, I did have a support system, but it just didn't agree to me mentally. I wanted more time. I needed more, space with the child, etc. So I took the entire year as a break. I spoke about it. I had a conversation with them. They were more than happy to support, given that I had just had a child. Mind you, I was managing a very large portfolio even back then. So I did, set clear expectations, and I did take time off. I took and I was able to take that time off because I had planned for it financially. We had conversations, with my spouse. And like I said, and I've been saying it again, children are expensive. You will find you need nannies, you need more maids, you need, equipments to, whether it is, other washing machines, etc., to ensure that everything is as clean and as hygienic as you want it to be. So there are multiple things that play out. Ensure that you are planned. If you have fixed deposits, that will work you through. If you have whatever works for you, because financial planning is very individual, so I won't get into the nitty-gritties of it. But ensure that you have planned so that you have income coming to you, and that does not bother you in your time of coming back. Okay. In case you have to come back, please ensure that you're taking very, very concrete steps in terms of how you're going to even plan your finances even after you come back, because there will be times you will need time off, etc. So please plan. So some food for thought, or maybe, while these are reflective questions, you might want to journal and understand a couple of these things. What scares you most about taking a break? Think about it and write it down. So if you've written it down, you will automatically start finding solutions. Okay, these are the things that are really actually worrying me, that if I take this break or what's going to happen, etc. Then you will know, go back and refer to the 3 C's, etc., on how each of these can be combated with one of the 3 C's. What kind of support would make your return smoother? Okay. So what would you need? Again, open conversations. Is it that you need limited time of work? Is it that you need to work from home for a couple of days? Is it that you need a crash facility? What is it that you need from the organization? Write it down, and then it'll be easier to have that conversation again, to whether it's with your manager, etc. Who in your workplace would advocate for you? Your support system, whom have you worked with? Because you might come back, and to be fair to the organization, they can't hold a position vacant for 6 months, 8 months, for a year, right? So they would have got a replacement for you. There would be work, because work does not stop for anyone, and none of us are indispensable. So, who would advocate for the work that you've been doing before? Who would you actually go back to? Write down the names, reach out prior to your joining back. Even before you go, say you're taking a break, you might want to come back and join their team. So things like that, please plan so that you can, and if you write it down, you will, of course, know, how and what to approach it. Last thing I need you to think about is about your conversations with your spouse. I was very lucky. I had a very good doctor, in Bangalore, who insisted that my husband came along for every doctor's visit. So any visit where I went and I didn't have my husband, he would ask me, where exactly is your husband? And he would have conversations, while I would be asking the question, he would be answering it looking at my husband, just to tell them that they're equally in this, while their wife might be carrying the child. I think that played out beautifully because it helped us have those conversations. And so, if you really think about it, it is a journey that both of you will take. There will be tough times. The more you document, the more you not document, more you at least hear. You need to have some of these open conversations. Ensure that you speak about, how you're skeptical, or if you do have skepticism in taking the break, is he financially going to be able to support? Or is he not going to be able to support? Do you need to plan more? Ensure that you talk about the expenses that will come about in terms of more help at hand. The more support that you will need, the more formulas that you will be buying, the more diapers that you'll be buying, multiple things, right? So ensure that those conversations are had. Unpleasant conversations sometimes, but it's important that, you think about it, reflect on it, and have those conversations. Finally, the 3 takeaways, just 4 things for you to remember. Comprehensive planning. I have been going on and on and on and on about how, whether you you plan financially, emotionally, and professionally. Ensure that you're documenting and planning all the stages, not missing out on any one of them. Own your story. What you control the narrative exactly. So you know exactly what's going to happen, how you're going to do it, what you're going to do. So please own up to it. If there are hurdles in it, deal with it, talk about it. Don't shy away from having that conversation. Don't think that you're alone. Don't think that nothing is there to support. Please ensure that you are owning your own story. HR partnership, they are your allies. Please remember that they are there in their roles because they want to be supportive. So ensure that you are having conversations if you have any doubts in terms of policy, clarity, coming back, all of that. Okay, so ensure, and timelines, when you're going to go back, when you're going to come back, all of that. What is the maternity benefits? How you can help? All of that needs to be had in a conversation, and of course, please relax. Having a break is normal. So you ensure that you're getting your own mind space. I did touch upon having support systems in terms of friends, family. Ensure that you have a girl gang. Ensure that you have your sisters, brothers, whoever it is, that you can to take the break that you need from the break that you're having. Okay, and if you understand what I'm saying, your break is your career break to go and have your child, but in that you need time as well. It is perfectly normal. It is a thing which everybody does. If you really plan it well, it's easy to take the break and come back and enjoy the exact work-life balance that people talk about. I have done it in the last 25 years, taken 2 breaks to have my 2 children, come back, hold successful positions, work through them when I have needed. I used to leave in the evening at 4 o'clock. How I did that is, of course, because I had good teams. I was, able to make them also work with me and be available to them through conversation. So all of it plays out if you plan yourself and you're confident of what you're doing, and you plan the whole thing out. Thank you, Hannah, for the opportunity. I would really appreciate, and I'm happy that if I could help somebody. Thank you.